everyone, how's it going? Welcome to a brand new Game Maker tutorial. Today we're going to be creating a really simple ladder system for your platformer game, or actually, you know what, I think a platformer type game this is a ladder system specifically for platformer games, and I don't actually know what other type of game you would have a ladder for. So, that being said, let me show you what I've done so far. I've just set up a basic platformer game. I got my player and my solid. All this code, I'll have a link to, I do have a platformer tutorial, and all this code is from that tutorial. So just some basic keyboard checks and some basic gravity, and also in the OBJ solid, move contact solid, blah, blah, blah. And OBJ solid is just set to solid. And I have set up a room, which is literally just a bunch of solids and a little player guy. So that is that. You if you're looking for this tutorial, you probably already have a platformer game made. So I'm just going to focus on implementing it into your game. So what's first? Well, first we got to make the ladder sprite. We want the ladder to actually have a look to it. So I'm going to right click on sprite, hit create new sprite, and I'm going to say SBR ladder, and I'm going to hit edit, and I'm going to make it 32 by 32 like the rest of my sprites. I'm going to double click, and I'm just going to take a black color, I think, get the line tool, and I'm just going to draw lines on the outside like this. Perfect. And then I'll draw a line here and here and no, down one. I'm going to try and get the rungs evenly apart from each other. Yeah, that's perfect. And then 1, 2, 3, dang. Let's move this down. We'll move this down 1, and this down 1, and I didn't. Yeah, I did. And then this down 1 more. No, that's perfect where it is. This. Yeah, that'll do. It doesn't have to be perfect. I was just trying to get them evenly. Of course, this is not even whatsoever. We got 5, 5, and 6. But you know, it's gonna drive me insane. I have to fix it. Up 1, and then if this goes up 1, now it's perfectly even. Alrighty. So we have our ladder sprite here. A nice little, good little thing. Yours, you know, can be completely different. That's just, you know, what I'm gonna use. And I'm going to make this into an object. I'm going to right click on object, create object, and I'm going to call this obj ladder. And I'm just going to set its sprite to the ladder sprite. And that is actually everything you have to do for the ladder. That's it. You just have to make it an object. All our ladder code is going to be happening inside our player. So double click on your player and go into the step event. And somewhere along your code, I don't know where, I'm going to do mine on the bottom. I'm just going to put a comment that says ladder, just so I know that everything below here is a ladder. If you don't know what a comment is, it basically allows you to type whatever you like, and GameMaker won't read it as code. So it's very, very good for like organizational purposes and stuff. Or if you're trying to explain what a line of code does, maybe you're sending the code to a pal or something, you can be like, oh, this does gravity. And then you can be like, oh, there we go, that does gravity. Thank you very much, comment. But alrighty, so let's set up the ladder so that we can actually move up and down the ladder. So the first thing we want to do is a collision check. We want to make sure, we want to see if we're touching the ladder. So I'm going to do if place underscore meeting x, y, obj ladder. So all this is doing is checking if we're touching the ladder in any place. If any part of us is touching the ladder, you know, then it's going to run whatever's in between these brackets. And then we're going to put another if statement saying if keyboard underscore check vk up. So all this is it's going to check. So we're touching the ladder. All right. Well, are we holding the up key or the down key? Because if we're holding the up key, we want to go up. And to go up, we're just going to say vspeed equals -2, -2. So if we're holding up, this vspeed equals -2 is going to make us move up the ladder. But then we want to say, well, if keyboard underscore check vk down, then vspeed equals 2. So if keyboard underscore check up, we're gonna if it's vk up, if we're holding the up arrow key, we're gonna go up. But if we're holding the down arrow key, we're gonna go down. That's pretty straightforward. except our code will not yet work because there's a few things we need to change here. Now, if your code is very different to this, you may have to slightly edit this to figure out the best way to do it for you. But if you do have code that's very similar to this, very similar gravity code specifically, then you should be good. One thing I want to add really quick here is right after the if place underscore meeting, I'm going to drop a line, and I'm just going to set vSpeed is equal to 0 and gravity is equal to 0. So basically all this is going to do is it's just going to make sure that we're not going to fall when we're on the ladder, and that our vSpeed isn't like already set. So when we're on the ladder, it's set to 0, so we're not moving up and down until we're holding down an arrow key. Of course, you can set this to whatever key you like. If you're doing WASD, you can set this to ORD W, which just sets it to the W key. But just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to do VK underscore up. Perfect. I got to put one more bracket back in there. Awesome. So one last thing we have to do here is in our gravity code, in the if place underscore free xy plus 1, we just want to add another statement. And you can do this two ways. You can either type and, or you can do a double and sign. The shift 7 on my keyboard, double and sign. But for this case, I'm just going to do shift 7 twice. And not place underscore meeting. Whoops. XY obj ladder. Whoops. Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, so let's walk through this. So usually, if you ignore this as here, it's going to check to see if there's a free position below us, if there's a solid below us. And if there is a solid below us, well then gravity is 0. But if there isn't, then gravity is 0.5. We want to fall. But now that we have a ladder, we also want to check to see if we're on a ladder. So if there's nothing below us, and if we're not, like it's only going to run this gravity code if we're not on a ladder. Because if we are on a ladder, gravity won't apply to us. Of course, in real life, that's not the fact. But in the game, if we're on a ladder, of course, there's going to be no solid below us, but we don't want to fall. So all this not place underscore meeting, the little exclamation mark, just stands for not. All this is doing is it's just going to just make sure that we're not on a ladder. And if, of course, if we're not on a ladder, then it's going to run the gravity code find. And of course, once again, let me do a quick review. We're going to do an if place underscore meeting xy obj ladder. So all that's doing is checking to see if we're touching the ladder. It's going to set the vSpeed to 0, so we're not moving up or down. It's going to set the gravity to 0, so that we're not, gravity's not being applied to us. And it's also going to check to see if we're holding down an arrow key. And if we are holding down a specific arrow key, then we're going to move according to that. So if we're holding down up, keyboard underscore check up, then vSpeed equals -2, which is going to allow us to go up. And then VK underscore down, vSpeed is equal to 2, which is going to get us to move down. Alrighty, that's a mouthful. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope so. If it doesn't, just let me know and I'll try and do a much better explanation in the comments. Let's add the ladder into the room here. I'm just going to do something like that, and then let's get some solids here. Actually, let's just do one side. Awesome, cool. So there are instances, yeah, sure. So let's hit play and let's run this and test this out. Alrighty, so we're moving over to the ladder. Okay, and if I'm on the ladder and I hit up, we move up the ladder. And if I hit down, we move down the ladder. So up, down, up, down, up. Perfect. And now we're on the solid here. And if we can walk back to the ladder and move down. So isn't that just awesome? So now we've got a full working ladder system. So of course, one feature you may want is you may not want, where are we here? OBJ player in the step event. You may not, you may want it so when you go up a ladder, if you're not holding up, you'll slowly fall back down. And to do that, all you have to do is else, oh crap, vSpeed is equal to 1. And all this is going to do is that, if we're holding up, we're going to move up, but then if we're not, we're going to slowly go back down. So that's a little feature I see in some games, so you may want that. So if you do want that, that is how you do it. I'll show you what it does here. We walk up to it. Oh, whoops. We go up the ladder, and then we fall slowly back down here. up, 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 and then slowly back down. Of course, we can move up and down with the arrow keys. Of course, that's a bonus feature. You know, not all people want that for their game. Anyways, guys, I believe we're going to wrap this tutorial up here, a little over the 10-minute mark, which isn't too bad. Voice crack there, holy man. I hope you guys learned something about GameMaker, and I hope this makes sense to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you have any ideas, something maybe something very specific you want to learn, please let me know, and I'll do my best to help you guys expand your knowledge of GameMaker and make the game you want to make. So my name is Tim Parker. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching, and happy deving.